Hello, everybody. I see a few people coming in here, some familiar faces. Hey, Nan, nice to see you. So everybody that's coming in, you will be automatically muted. So we're going to keep everybody on mute while we talk. For those that have been in this before, welcome. I know that there's a lot of people in here that have been tuning in every week, so we appreciate the support. So for those that don't know, so I'm Wes Van Epps. I am the outreach specialist at Wisconsin Voices for Recovery, and we've been doing this live Q&A for a couple months now, just bringing on guests across the nation and just having open conversation and dialogue around recovery and what that means, and having specific topics too for people to engage in conversation, bring up questions about specific things that we bring here every week. So just a couple things to go over. If you do have questions for our guest, there is a comment section at the bottom that you can type in. And then we will also have time at the end for individuals to ask questions live. So feel free to hold your questions to the end, or if you do have questions around a specific topic that our guest is talking about, just type it in the comment section and we'll make sure to address that before we move on. So yeah, welcome everybody. Actually today we're going to be having Jessica, my coworker. She's going to be the one that's leading and moderating today's live video. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be handing this over to Jessica and she will do the introductions.
Hello, everyone. So like Wes said, my name is Jessica Geschke. It's great to see everyone in here today. So I am the outreach specialist with Wisconsin Voices for Recovery, and I am super excited for today's live Q&A and to welcome our guest speaker. I was frantically looking at my phone for her bio, but I don't have it, and honestly, I don't think I need it. I'll just go ahead and introduce Skye and what she means to me. So Skye Boughman is a woman, a strong leader and woman in long-term recovery. She's known throughout not only Wisconsin, but the nation. And she is involved with organizations like Recovery Advocacy Project and Stop Heroin Now. And she is just a mover and shaker. And for me, she's one of my mentors, and I absolutely adore her and love everything that she stands for. And so excited, Skye, to have you on today. I know that we're going to go ahead and kick this off by doing things a little bit different. Skye wanted to open this up with a loving kindness meditation. So we're going to go ahead and make sure everyone's on mute and let Skye go ahead and move forward with that. So Skye, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself beyond the amazingness that I just did, you can do that and then move forward.
So Jess's introductions always make me a little teary because she's so heartfelt and lovely. So for those people that don't know me, I've been working as a therapist on the front lines of the opioid epidemic. After I found recovery 17 years ago, I've really dedicated my life to overdose prevention, treatment, and then building peer supports and peer recovery supports. I've done a whole bunch of different projects because I like to be creative and I always do way too many things at the same time. If you've seen me at a meeting that I'm hustling out of 5 minutes early, you know that about me already because I'm always running from one thing to the next. One of the things that's really come through this time very strongly to me is that people that aren't in recovery really need the skills of those of us that are in recovery right now. And one of the things that the recovery community has always done so beautifully is to be able to live from a place of gratitude. And so there's this meditation, and it's my favorite type of meditation. If I say meditation and your immediate response is, I hate meditating because I argue with myself in my head, that is also how I thought of meditation for a really long time. But this particular type of meditation just works for me. And so I'd love to just take 5 minutes of your time, ask you to get comfortable. your eyes if you're comfortable enough to do that. And I'm just going to lead you through a little bit of a loving meditation. All right, let's go ahead and all breathe in together and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. I'd like you to bring to mind someone for whom you naturally have feelings of warmth and goodwill. See their face, feel their presence. May they be well, happy, and peaceful. May they be well, happy, and peaceful. May their hurts be eased. May their wounds be healed. May they be well, happy, and peaceful. May they find success in their endeavors. Picture them succeeding. May they be well, happy, and peaceful. May they be well, happy, and peaceful. Now, I'd like you to bring to mind, see yourself as a mother sees her child. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May my hurts be eased. May my wounds be healed. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May I find success in my endeavors. May I find joy in my living. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. Now, I'd like you to bring to mind the recovery community. Think of the recovery community here in the state of Wisconsin. Visualize all of the different people that you know who are struggling or strong in their recovery. May we be well, happy, and peaceful. May we be well, happy, and peaceful. May our hurts be eased. May our wounds be healed. May we be well, happy, and peaceful. May we find success in our endeavors. May we find joy in our living. May we be well, happy, and peaceful. May we be well, happy, and peaceful. Now, I'd like you to bring to mind every living being on earth. Picture each living being as a white light that is connected to all living things around them. May all be well, happy, and peaceful. May all be well, happy, and peaceful. May all of our hurts be eased. May all of our wounds be healed. May all be well, happy, and peaceful. May all be well, happy, and peaceful. May all find success in our endeavors. May we all find joy in our living. May all be well, happy, and peaceful. May all be well, happy, and peaceful. Let's take one more deep breath in and out. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch if you'd like. And when you're ready, come back to the room, knowing you can come back to that place of connection and peace at any time. So I've been doing that meditation every day since this pandemic started. And there's, the part of the serenity prayer that's the change the things you can. That's always been my skill set in life. I'm a strong advocate and I am incredibly persistent. My mom would say stubborn, not persistent. I'm good at changing the things that I can, but the level of powerlessness that I've felt through this, watching people suffer and struggle and die has been really challenging. And one of the things that really helps me get through my day and brings my positive attitude back is doing that meditation every day. Because I can't fix everything for everybody right now. But I can send them loving kindness every single day.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So you mentioned a little bit about the feeling of powerlessness. And I want to talk a little bit about that and how you have created a sense of movement, right, towards what do I do with feeling powerless to creating a movement of gaining power back. I've seen you do that in your work. Can you tell us a little bit about things that you're up to right now, where you maybe see situations going on in Wisconsin that, the average person or even individuals maybe that are on the line right now would say, oh my gosh, like I can see this happening. I know it's out there. I know people are homeless. They're not being able to access treatment services. There's overdoses. We feel powerless. What can we do to become, get our power back, to have more resources?
Absolutely. So that's such a beautifully phrased question, right? Because it really is that, like, I've been doing this for a long time and I know a ton of people, and usually like when I have somebody that I've worked with who's at risk of homelessness, I can pull a string somewhere and get them into safe, sober housing, right? Like there's, I might have to make 20 phone calls, but I make those 20 phone calls and I find the one that says yes. And when this started, there weren't any strings to pull. And it was the first time, it was the first time since the very beginning of my career that I felt like that the resources just weren't there. And, I work a lot in the sober living space. And it was so hard because, I think that Wisconsin absolutely did the right thing with letting nonviolent offenders out of jail. And we know that the people in jail, we know how many people caught COVID-19 in jail, right? And so it really was the right thing to, if the person's not a harm to society, get them out of jail so that they don't lose their life due to COVID, right? But that happened, that decision and those discharges took place within 3 days. And we had thousands of people who were in recovery while they were in jail, had a plan to move into a sober living facility or to go to treatment at their discharge. And all of them just got released from jail in 3 days. And if you talked to me during those 3 days, I was probably crying, and I was probably frantic, right? Because there wasn't anywhere for people to go. And I know that it's caused relapses, and I know that it's caused fatal overdoses. I know people who have lost their lives because they were in that particular situation. And that's just soul crushing, right? Like, you know, we have spent so much of our time and our hearts and our tears building this recovery community in Wisconsin. And to see it kind of crumble when this, you know, absolutely COVID is a huge deal, but we weren't set up, like our community, our structures weren't set up to be able to protect our people during this time. And that was really challenging. So the good news is that we're at a place now where almost every county has rent relief. So the original eviction protection that was put out didn't protect most of our people in sober livings. A lot of our houses did the right thing, right? And they acted like it applied to them, but legally it doesn't apply to them because sober living, you have a program agreement, you don't have a lease, right? And the way that order for eviction stays was written, it was written based on a lease. And we had people get kicked out of their sober livings because they were laid off and couldn't afford their program agreement fees, right? So, you know, that didn't go well. And me and many other advocates made a whole lot of noise about why in the world wouldn't you include people in sober livings? And what happened next was that the federal, emergency funds came down for rent assistance. And it's been verified to me this week that each county who has now figured out who's going to be dispersing the rent relief funds, that people that reside in sober livings are eligible for those funds. So anybody that's living in a sober living right now that is struggling to pay their rent due to COVID can go to their county and request rent relief. In Dane County, the Tenant Resource Center is our hub for that. And in different counties, it's going to have a different administrator. But finally, our community is getting some relief on this. I am disappointed that it took as long as it did. I'm disappointed that, those of us that have worked with the legislature for so long weren't consulted about what the recovery community needed to stay safe during this time. And it does seem like it was an oversight. We know that the fatal overdose numbers are going up this year. In Madison, we lost all the progress that we've made. And we're back to the same numbers that we had in 2015. And then the number of suicide, death by suicide, has also jumped right around the same amount. And so this, we say the opposite of addiction is connection. Well, the opposite of connection is isolation. And as we're isolating for the good of everyone so that we can beat COVID, we as a community really have to show up for each other, right? And that I'm not saying go to your friend's house not wearing a mask and, hug them for 5 minutes and never wash your hands, right? Like, don't do that. That's a bad idea, right? But, if you have people that you haven't talked to in a week, make sure that you're texting, make sure that you're doing video calls. If you can meet at one side of the park and they're at the other side of the park so that you can be in the same place, right? Like, every single one of us in the recovery community has to step it up right now, because it's us. Like, we're the ones who are dying. And I'm not I can't do nothing, right? Like I cannot do nothing. And so, I will keep advocating my butt off and be kind of a pain in the butt to the powers that be until they listen to me and they, set funds aside for the recovery community within this. And personally, like I'm a person in recovery and I am staying on top of my community and, the people in recovery who are my best friends, right? Like I am making sure that they are not isolated, even if I'm annoying them. Yep, too bad, so sad. I still need to know that you're okay. One of the other really exciting things to come out of this is that, after a fairly major freak out that I had about people dying and not having funds set aside for us and not having a plan for the recovery community, we work with some national advocates, and they really heard our pleas, and they have put together a virtual town hall that's going to be focused on the recovery community and the response during COVID. And then there's also going to be fresh off the presses information about the opioid lawsuits, what we're advocating for as to making sure that all of the opioid, all the Purdue money, all the big farm money that comes in through those lawsuits goes right back into the recovery community. It doesn't get set aside for, speed bumps, right? Like we need this money in our community because we are the ones that have been harmed the worst. So June 2nd, mark your calendars. We'll have Representative Nygren there, Representative Sargent, Janet Bewley, and more will be signing up. And it will really give us an opportunity to talk to the change makers in our state and the decision makers about what we're seeing on boots on the ground, what we're seeing in our communities, and what we need from them, right? So come with questions. Come with what's weighing heavily on you right now, because our leaders need to hear it from us. And this will be a really great venue so that our voices get to be heard.
So you talked a little bit about this town hall meeting, and it's a national recovery movement. Can you talk a little bit about that organization, your part and what you play in that? I know that has to deal a little bit with mobilized recovery, and there's a deadline coming up, and your experience about that.
Yeah, so Jess and I actually got to go to the Mobilized Recovery Conference last year, and I have been to so many conferences, and I have seen so many seminars on motivational interviewing throughout my career. Like if I watch one more seminar on motivational interviewing, my head is going to explode, right? Like, you can't be in this field for as long as I have, and it's just rare that there's a conference that actually means something, right? When you're first getting into the field and it's so exciting to learn every new thing, right? But then once you've been here for a while, you realize that the same speakers come to the same conferences and they always talk about the same thing. Hard to get that excitement to stick with you, right? So we went to Mobilize, and it was different than anything I'd ever experienced. It is a room full of people that are in recovery or that are affected family members. If you're not one of us, you're not in the room, right? And so there was just this amazing sense of us all accepting each other and belonging together. And, I think I got back from every break late because I would meet some new amazing person and want to pick their brain and be like, oh my God, what are you doing in Kentucky? That sounds incredible, right? So Mobilize Recovery was the training that led us to the Recovery Advocacy Project, which is really about mobilizing the recovery voting community so that we're actually voting for our best interests, right? We've never been a voting bloc before, right? People it wasn't like, oh, this person's good on recovery issues, so I'm going to vote for them, right? Like that wasn't even things that we were looking at. And as the advocacy field has grown, we can actually like kind of demand things from legislators now because we have a powerful voice. There are so many people that have been impacted by addiction and impacted by recovery. And when we put our voices together and we say, no, that opioid lawsuit money is not going to be spent on traffic and road construction, it go back to us. They actually have to listen to us because only us now, which, for my advocate heart, that makes me really, really happy. So I think that the deadline to sign up for this year's Mobilize is actually on Friday. If you go to Facebook and you just search Mobilize Recovery, or if you put in any web browser and search Mobilize Recovery, there will be an application process. Apply, go. This is not a boring conference. This will be one of the best weekends of your life.
Yep, awesome. So, and then you talked a little bit about and I'll also mention that Bev Kelly Miller is also on our line here, and she's a Recovery Advocacy Project lead as well for Wisconsin, along with myself and Skye. And so, hey, Bev, I see you there. And so you talked a little bit about this town hall that's happening June 2nd. So what do you want to get out of that with these 3 leaders so far that are coming? Like, what is the end goal?
Yeah. So, part of it's going to be about the opioid lawsuit money, right? Like, for me, what I'll be advocating for is to make sure that that money goes to the individuals and families that were harmed and into the recovery community so that we can build the infrastructure that we need so that, if somebody has a substance use disorder crisis, there will be an urgent care, like a behavioral health urgent care that they can walk into 24 hours a day and say, I need help now. And it's actually available to them, right? Like, these are my dreams. This is what, we all know that we're not anywhere close to there yet, right? But these are my dreams, and I like to talk about my dreams. And then, I really want to bring up how, if we don't get a handle on housing, and if there isn't being money set aside for safe, sober housing, because just housing people who are early in recovery in a hotel around other people that are using, that's not safe, right? And we're seeing fatal overdoses in those situations. And so they're going to hear my voice loud and clear that we appreciate what they're doing, and it's not enough for us yet. They need a plan on how they're going to support people's substance use disorder and mental health disorders during this time. And I'm happy to volunteer my time to help them build that plan, but I want a plan.
Okay, cool. I know we're getting down here to the last few moments. I think the only other question I had for you was this new role that you've added to your bio as the Stop Heroin Now Executive Director. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what that role means, and what you're up to with the nonprofit Stop Heroin Now?
Yeah. So, Stop Heroin Now has always been a nonprofit that is close to my heart. They've been filling a gap that was in our system for 11 years now, right? You have somebody that's getting out of treatment, that doesn't have anywhere to go, that needs to be in a sober living facility, and that person has no money, right? Like, who do you go to? You go to Stop Heroin Now, right? And so, I really wanted to, I'm always willing to invest my time in organizations that have made the difference between life and death for the people that I work with. And Stop Heroin Now is absolutely one of those organizations. So we've got some exciting stuff on the horizon. right now, like, we have digitized all of our forms and our reporting, which I'm sure that you all are thrilled about. But I am, because it makes it so much easier, and then we don't have to spend time on it, so that we can really get people the funds that they need and to get into the houses as quickly as possible. And then we're looking for, what comes next for SHN. Do we need to make sure that there's, peer recovery coaches that can serve as house managers in some of the most rural parts of the state where they're really struggling to find house managers, right? Like, so we're really looking at this on a systems level. Where are the gaps? What skills and expertise do we bring to the table that we can help to fill those gaps? Because that's what we want to do, right? Like, we want strong partnerships with all the sober living houses. And then anything that they're struggling with, we want to be able to lend a hand.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that overview.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So one question we had in the chat was from Bev. She just asked if you could post the meditation so that she could have that.
Yep.
And then she also said, thank you for the work you're doing in the recovery community. She really appreciates that.
Thank you.
And are there any other questions? We can open it up if you want to unmute yourself and ask Skye any follow-up questions.
Don't be shy. I don't bite. Promise. All right.
Right, well, it doesn't look like it. So again, Skye, thank you so much, not just for coming on here today, but for all your expertise in the recovery field, for everything that you do for everyone, not only those in recovery, but those actively struggling and family members. I think I speak for everyone, that's ever met you when we say that you are just an immense, vast knowledge, for everyone that has ever needed anything. You always seem to know where to turn. And if you don't, you'll be the first person to say, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out for you. And I just adore you and your willingness to help anyone in need. You are a change maker in this state, and I don't hear that enough. And so thank you so much for all the hard work that you do for people in this state.
Yeah. And my gratitude to everybody on the call. This is a hard time for all of us. And these opportunities to come together make it so much better. So big virtual hugs to everybody.
All right. Well, tune in again. Just a reminder, we are not meeting this Friday. There is no live this Friday, but we will be meeting next week, Wednesday. And for the life of me, I cannot remember who that is, Wes, that we have coming up Wednesday.
Is that, I think Tanya? Is it Tanya?
I'm not sure, but we'll post it.
We will post it.
We've reached out to so many people.
I don't have the list in front of me, but.
Me either, but we do have an exciting person, I'm sure, coming up next week, Wednesday.
I think it's Tamra.
Oh, it is Tamra. I think it is too. Yes, so Tamra. You don't even have to say her last name because everybody knows who it is. Yeah. So Tamra. So she will be on Wednesday, and you don't want to miss her because she has just been so amazing to watch, even on her own personal Facebook page. She's keeping us all entertained this time. So next week, Wednesday. And again, thank you so much, Skye. We love you.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.